We are learning Humash Rashi for the Chok LeYisrael Yom Sheni, Parashat Lecha. We are going to actually go back one pasuk, pasuk Vav. Vaya'avor Avram ba'aretz ad mekom Shechem ad Elon Moreh v'hakanani az ba'aretz. Vav. Humash Rashi. Vaya'avor Avram ba'aretz nichnas letocha. He went inside. It says Vaya'avor Avram ba'aretz. Passed into the land. It says letocha, in the land. Sefarim acherim betocha, in the land. Some say letocha, betocha. Okay. Ad mekom Shechem, until the place of Shechem. Litpalel al bnei Yaakov kishiyavo leilachem b'Shechem. So that he went to the area of Shechem, Abraham, right when he comes into the land, in order to pray later on for Levi, Shimon and Levi, when they ended up battling Shechem and the entire city. Elon Moreh, who Shechem? So Rashi tells us that is Shechem. Here'eu har Gerizim v'har Ebal. It showed Abraham the two mountains, Har Gerizim and Har Ebal, which Moshe Rabbeinu later on brought them for the Keladot and Berachot. Shesham kiblu Yisrael shivuat Torah. That's where they got the promise of the Torah. V'Kenani az ba'aretz. The Kenani is in the land. The Canaan is the grandson of Noach. Noach has Ham, and then he has Canaan. So it looks like these are his descendants. Haya holech v'kovesh et Eretz Yisrael mizar'o shel Shem. He would go, Canaan would go, meaning really Shem was there first, his children, because this land was given only to the children of Shem. So how did Canaani, the children of Ham, come? He would go and take over the land. Mizar'o shel Shem. So Ham would take over from Shem. Shebechelko shel Shem, in the portion of Shem, Nafla keshechalak Noach et ha'aretz banav. That area, when Noach came off the Teva, he divided the entire world up in three. And he told them, okay, this is your area, and your area. One of the areas of Ham was the African area. He got Ham. Shem got the Middle Eastern area, which is around Sinai, Israel, and eastwardly, Nehad Perat. I don't have the exact borders, but that was the other portion. And Yefet got the areas of Italy, Rome, Europe, that northern part. And they, with these three families, they took over the whole world. Shneimar u'Malkisedek melech Shalem. It says Malkisedek melech Shalem. Who's Malkisedek? Melech Shalem. This is Shem. That he was the melech of Shalem. Shalem is the name of the city, which was Yerushalem, which was later. Lefichach. Therefore, Vayomer el Avram, he says to Avram, Lezaracha eten et haaretz hazot. I'm going to give it to your children. Atid ani lehachazira lebanecha. In the future, I'm going to return it to your children, because it was already yours. This was dictated to you from the beginning of the Torah and Bereshit. Look at the first Rashi, that the entire world is created by God and he divided it up. Noach already granted this land to you in Shem. But Canaan keeps on fighting to take it back from you. And so I'm going to return it back to you, Avraham, or Avram. And then later on, it's going to end up having the same situation again. Because you, Avram and Avraham, are the children of Shem. Zayin. Vayiven sham mizbeach al besorat hazera al besorat Eretz Yisrael. So he says here, he built mizbeach, an altar, from all the besorot tovot, from all the good news that he said. He's going to have a zera, he's going to have children. And also, he just got a beautiful piece of land. He told him, Eretz Yisrael is yours. Imagine that. He was in Aram Naharaim, he went to Haran, and suddenly God tells him, okay, I'm going to give you your own land, it's all yours, no one's going to bother you. Well, I mean, people, unfortunately, and nations do bother us that on the land of Eretz Yisrael, but he said this would be your land and I'm going to promise it to you. Het. Vayatek misham hahara mikedem lebet el vayet aholo bet el miyam va'ai mikedem vayiven sham mizbech lanai vayikra b'shem Adonai. Het. Let's take a look at that. Vayatek misham. He relocated. What did he relocate? Aholo, his tent. Okay, let's continue. Mikedem lebet el. Mikedem means from east to Bet El. B'mizracha shel Bet El, to the east of Bet El. Nimset, it was found, Bet El b'ma'aravo hu. Okay, so we found that Bet El is to Abraham's west. Shne'emar Bet El miyam. Bet El miyam. So that's the pasuk. Let's see where that comes from. Let's see where he brings this down. Bet El miyam. I don't see where he sources this out, but he has it on quote unquote. It says here, but if he had relocated from Bethel to the mountain, Bethel would have been on his east. So he says he's going from, I guess what Rashi is telling us here, he's trying to identify how he traveled. He's traveled from east to Bethel. So Bethel was towards his west, and he traveled from the eastern side, I guess from the Jordanian side, or from that direction. Aholo, let's take a look at his tent. Aholo kitiv. It's written here with Aleph Hey Lamed Hey. Aholo. There's no vav over here in the word. It says like her tent. But Techila Nata. First he pitched et Ohel Ishto, his wife's tent. V'achakach et Shelo, and afterwards his own. So Rashi is telling us why is it said Aholo, but it's spelled Ahola, her, because first he pitched his wife's tent and he set it up. Goes to show you Hanhagat Derech Eretz. When it comes to the house, set your wife up first, set up her room, set up everything that she's happy, and then go set up your own. We learned that from Abraham Avinu. Vayiven Sham Mizbeach, he built an altar. Ditnabe, he prophesies Sha'atidin Banav Hikashel Sham, that his children are destined to stumble and make a mistake there. Al Avon Achan, the city of Achan, v'hitpalel sham alehim, and he prayed for them. So what was the story of Achan? The Achan story is in Yehoshua in chapter 7, where it talks about where they took over the city of Ai, and they were not allowed to take any of the booty or the spoils from the land, and Achan went and took it, and he took it to his tent, he buried it, and then they ended up catching him, and they ended up killing him, Achan. And Achan goes down at the end as a Sadiq, because we have in the Aleinu L'Shabeach, where Yehoshua wrote the Aleinu L'Shabeach, and then the Al Ken Nekaveh was written by Achan, and he put it in the acronym. Al Ken Nekaveh is an acronym for Achan, for him. At the end of his life, he ended up asking for teshuvah, he made teshuvah, and he was forgiven. But Abraham Avinu goes to that city of Ai now, and he prays. So we notice right away, what does Abraham Avinu, the grandpa, the Saba, the Jiddo, what is he doing? The Zaidi, what is he doing out there? All he's doing is praying. He goes first to Hebron, he goes to Shechem, then he passes by Ai. He goes around the land and he's praying. And he's praying that he sees and feels that his descendants at one point might need his assistance, and he's creating different doorways and gateways through his tefillot that they will be saved. Let's look. The next pasuk, Tet. Vayisa Abraham haloch v'nasoa hanegba. So Abraham journeyed and he goes down towards the Negev, the south. Let's take a look. Haloch v'nasoa, going and traveling. Lifrakim means he's going and coming at intervals. He's stopping. Yoshev Khan, he stops here. Hodesh or Yoter, he stopped for a certain part in one place. Misham, and then he would travel from there. Aholo b'makom acher. And this aholo, by the way, is with a vav. It's Rashi's writing, but he's trying to hint to you. He did his tent. Aholo b'makom acher. He put his tent in a different place. V'chol masav hanegba. And all of his travels is going southwardly. So he started in the north and he made his way down south. Lechet lidroma shel Eretz Yisrael, to go all the way to the south of Eretz Yisrael. Vehi letzad Yerushalayim, and that's the direction of Jerusalem. Shehi bechelko Yehuda, and that is in the portion of Yehuda. Shenatlu bidroma shel Eretz Yisrael, that they took the portion. Yehuda took the portion of the southern part of Israel. Har HaMoriah, which is in Yerushalayim. Shehi nachalato, which is his inheritance. Let's take a look what he writes here on the bottom. He says, had the verse said Haloch v'nasoa negba, it would have meant going and traveling downwards. Now it says Hanegba, which means to the south, to the specific place to the south of the land of Israel. And then he says here, next note, mention of Mount Moriah indicates why Abraham traveled to the southern portion of the land of Israel. He was drawn to Mahara Moriah, which he was destined to carry out the Akedat Yitzchak later on with him. So let's take a look next pasuk. Vayira av ba'aretz vayired Abram Mitzrayim lagur sham ki kaved ha'arav ba'aretz. So there's a famine in the land, and Avram goes down to Egypt to live there because, again, the famine in the land was very severe. Double time, it tells us, is a famine. Okay, let's look at Rashi. Ra'av ba'aretz, a famine in the land. Be'ota ha'aretz levada. It was only in that land of Eretz Yisrael, le'nasuto, in order to test Abraham. Another test of Abraham. He makes it to a place that God tells him to go to. And God promises him everything that is good. And he gets there, and they don't even have food to drink and water, food to eat and water to drink. It's interesting, and a person needs to take this Rashi to heart, that sometimes you could be doing everything perfectly, everything right, and it doesn't mean it's going to turn out right. God has reasons for why he does things. Sometimes things are tests, and we don't understand them. But we see from Abraham Avinu, Bechir Sheba'avot, I know Yaakov Avinu also Bechir Sheba'avot, but Abraham Avinu, Yachid Haya Abraham, there was no one else like Abraham Avinu. And when he goes to a place and he's doing everything perfectly, passing every test, dotting every I, crossing every T, everything is perfect, and it doesn't work out perfectly. There's a big lesson in this, that sometimes you could be doing everything right, and it doesn't turn out right, because God has plans, and God understands and does things for different reasons. If he's going to question, Hashem wants to say, are you going to question me? I told you something, and you seemingly see something that's very opposite. Are you going to question me? Sha'amar lo, he told him, go into the land. And now he tells them, he told them, okay, go to the land, everything's going to be great. He gets there, he realizes that he can't really survive here. There's no food, no water. And that's the basis of civilization. No, if they can't have that, they can't proceed. And he says, okay, leave it now. Go to Mitzrayim. And let's take a look at number 5. He brings down the Tanhuma over here in Tanhuma Hey. Okay, let's look at number 11. Number 11 is actually next day of the Chok Lisa, but we'll continue with it. Vahi kasher hektiv lavo himitzrayim vayomer el Sarai ishto hinena yadati ki isha yefat mar'eh at. Okay, so he tells Sarai, his wife, it's only now that I paid attention that you really have a beautiful appearance to you. Let's take a look on the bottom of Rashi. Hinena yadati midrash agada. The midrash tells us ad achshav, until now lo hikir ba. He didn't notice her beauty, mitoch siniut shebishnehem, because of the modesty of both of them. This tells us that both Abraham was modest and both Sarah was modest. What I understand from here is that whatever you think of modesty in Sarah, Abraham Avinu had as well. No different than when Chacham Avadia Yosef went to go visit the Baba Sali, that he said he had a lot of siniut. Meaning he covered himself almost like a woman, where you didn't see any part of the Baba Sali's body, maybe just his hands and a couple of the parts of his face. Everything was covered all around, just like a modest woman would be. He would, and the same thing is telling us here. They both had a tremendous amount of siniut and modesty. But now he recognized her because of the incidents. What's the incidents? What incidents happened? Now, if you look at the Tanhuma in Hey, it tells us that when they arrived at the Nilus, at the Nile, Abraham saw they went down the river, and there were a lot on the Nile, and he saw her reflection in the water, and it was shining like the sun, her face. And when Abraham Avinu saw it, he appreciated it and saw her beauty. What's another reason? Alternatively, minhag ha'olam, the way of the world, shalidet torah haderech, through going the difficulty of traveling by road, adam mitbazeh, a person becomes, has a bizui. Why? The guy's at home, he showers every night, showers every morning, takes care of himself, he has access to all of his tools in order to make sure he's clean shaven and everything is good. But when he's on the road, he shaves once a week, he showers every couple of days, doesn't change as often. So Adam mitbazeh. Vezot, but this Sarah imenu amda beyofya. When she went on the path, she stayed on her beauty the whole way through. Ufpeshuto shel mikra. And Rashi always says, Lo bati ela the peshuto shel mikra. What is it? Ufpeshuto shel mikra. The simple meaning, Hinena, behold now, Higiya hasha'a. The time came, sheyesh lid'og al yofyech. It now is the time to worry about your beauty. Why is now the time? Yadati. I know ze yamim rabim. That's for many days, meaning hinena yadati. What does it mean? It says, I already know that you're very beautiful from the past. Ki yefat mar'eat. V'achshav anu ba'im. But now we're coming, ben anashim shcholim u'mechoarim. We're now going to a place of ugly people, and we're also going to a place where they are shechorim. And the nations there are going to be not like us, white, but they're going to be black. And achahem shel kushim, they are the brothers of the kushim, of the Ethiopian. Velo hudgelu be'isha yafa, and they are not used to a white woman that is beautiful like you. V'domelo hinena Adonai suruna, and he has a tefillah like it says in the pasuk. Where is this located? This is later on. He brings down from the Mizrahi, from the Re'em, Rabbi Eliyah Mizrahi. So he says, behold now, my lords, turn about, please. So what he's saying is that in Mitzrayim, the majority of the people there were either ugly, or the majority of the people there were the brothers of the Kushim, of the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians actually have a beauty to them, and they are black, but they have a beauty to them. And he said, but they were different. And the difference is what's going to cause also the beauty. So he said, be very careful. Now we're going to a territory where you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and you have to be aware of this. And that is the end of the Rashi for Yud Aleph. We'll continue tomorrow. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.